Welcome back, everyone! If you're a fan of Pawn Stars, you already know the magic that happens inside the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas. For over a decade, we've watched Rick Harrison, Coorey Big Hoss Harrison, and their team turn ordinary items into extraordinary stories. But what if I told you there's more to this world than meets the eye? Today, we're diving deep into something brand new, a podcast called Pawn After Dark. It's not just an extension of the show, it's an entirely different experience. In this video, we'll explore how Pawn After Dark came to life, why it's such a game changer for fans, and what makes it so special. Whether you're here for the history lessons, behind-the-scenes secrets, or just good old-fashioned storytelling, this is going to be one wild ride. To understand Pawn After Dark, we need to rewind a bit. Remember when Pawn Stars first aired on the History Channel back in 2009? At its core, the show was about buying, selling, and appraising unique treasures, but it quickly became much more than that. Viewers fell in love with the personalities, the family dynamics, and the fascinating glimpses into American history. But as successful as the show has been, the Harrisons always felt like they were leaving things unsaid. There simply wasn't enough time in a 22-minute TV episode to fully unpack every story or share all the hilarious moments that happened off-camera. That's where the idea for Pawn After Dark was born. You know, after filming all day, we'd sit around the shop at night, talking about everything that didn't make it onto the show. Sometimes it was funny stuff, sometimes it was serious, like lessons learned from tough negotiations or historical facts we couldn't squeeze in. And people kept telling us, you guys should record these conversations. So during the pandemic, when production slowed down and everyone had more downtime, they decided to give it a shot. What started as casual recordings turned into something bigger, a full-fledged podcast that lets listeners peek behind the curtain of the pawn shop empire. Now, let's talk about what makes Pawn After Dark stand out. Unlike the structured format of Pawn Stars, this podcast is raw, unfiltered, and completely unscripted. Think of it as hanging out with your favorite characters after hours. No cameras, no editing, just real conversations. Each episode kicks off with a deep dive into a memorable transaction or artifact. These aren't just summaries. They are rich narratives filled with personal anecdotes and expert insights. For example, in one episode, Rick shares the backstory of a Civil War sword that almost slipped through his fingers because of a rookie mistake. Fans submit questions via social media, and the hosts answer them live. From advice on starting a collection to queries about running a business, nothing is off limits. This segment creates a direct connection between the audience and the hosts. One of the most popular features is the History Lessons segment, where Rick uses his encyclopedic knowledge to break down the significance of certain items. Did you know that counterfeit coins played a major role in espionage during World War II? Neither did we, until Rick explained it. Perhaps the most entertaining part of the podcast is the banter between Rick, Coorey, and occasionally other members of the team. Their chemistry shines through, whether they're reminiscing about past pranks or debating the value of bizarre collectibles. The decision to launch a podcast wasn't random. It was strategic. Podcasting offers several advantages that traditional TV doesn't. First, it allows for longer-form content. Instead of cramming stories into bite-sized segments, the hosts can take their time exploring topics in depth. Second, podcasts are incredibly accessible. You can listen while commuting, working out, or doing chores, making it easier for fans to stay engaged with the brand throughout their day. And then there's the intimacy factor. When you're watching TV, there's always a barrier, the screen. But with a podcast, it feels like you're sitting right there with Rick and Coorey, sharing in their laughter and wisdom. This level of closeness builds loyalty and trust, which is crucial for any long-running franchise. With the podcast, we get to be ourselves without worrying about ratings or time constraints. It's freeing, honestly. We can geek out about history or tell embarrassing stories without feeling like we're ruining a scene. So how have fans responded to this new venture? Spoiler alert, they love it. Social media has been flooded with positive feedback. Some fans say they've discovered a whole new side of the Pawn Stars universe, while others appreciate the educational aspect. One listener even mentioned that the podcast inspired her to start collecting vintage postcards. But it's not just about entertainment. Pawn After Dark has also fostered a sense of community among fans. Listeners often interact with each other in the comments section, sharing their own stories or asking follow-up questions. The hosts frequently acknowledge these interactions, creating a feedback loop that keeps everyone invested. This one's from @TreasureHunter87. If you could only keep one item from the shop, what would it be? Great question. For me, it'd probably be the Apollo 11 moon rock, not just because of its value, but because of what it represents, the pinnacle of human achievement. Of course, transitioning from TV to podcasting hasn't been without its challenges. The biggest hurdle? Finding the right balance between professionalism and authenticity. On TV, every word is carefully chosen, every gesture rehearsed. With the podcast, the goal is to sound natural, even if that means stumbling over words or cracking jokes that don't land. Another challenge has been reaching new audiences. While die-hard Pawn Stars fans have eagerly embraced the podcast, attracting non-viewers requires creative marketing strategies. To combat this, the team has partnered with other popular podcasts, launched social media campaigns, and even teased exclusive content to draw in curious listeners. But despite these obstacles, the growth potential is immense. Podcasts have become a $1 billion industry, and Pawn After Dark is perfectly positioned to capitalize on this trend. By expanding into audio storytelling, the Harrisons are ensuring that their legacy extends. As Pawn After Dark continues to gain momentum, the possibilities seem endless. In future episodes, we can expect appearances from celebrity collectors, historians, and even former customers who want to share their experiences. There are also plans for themed seasons, like a month dedicated to military memorabilia or a series exploring the weirdest items ever brought into the shop. And who knows? Maybe someday we'll see live podcast recordings or even a crossover event with other popular shows. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear: Pawn After Dark is here to stay, offering fans a fresh perspective on a beloved franchise. So whether you're a lifelong Pawn Stars enthusiast or someone looking for a new podcast to binge, Pawn After Dark deserves a spot in your playlist. It's funny, informative, and downright addictive. Trust me, you won't regret hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me today as we explore this exciting new chapter in the Pawn Stars saga. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video if you enjoyed it. And hey, if you've listened to Pawn After Dark, drop your favorite moment in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it.